everyone, it's Emily, and today I'll be talking about what it's been like collecting for the PS Vita in 2022. So this circles back to my very first video I made on this channel where I had imported this particular PS Vita model from Japan that I plan to use for physical Vita games. Before that, I was using the Slim model to play digital games, and this is also the system that I hacked in order to play some of the Trails games with English patches. So it's been over 4 months since that very first video, so I thought I would take the time and talk about how physical collecting for the PS Vita system has been going so far, and also touch upon some of my future plans for collecting this system. So there are two main genres that I like to collect for, JRPGs and visual novels. And I would say that my experience so far collecting for the Vita in 2022 has been a little mixed concerning these two genres. So far, I've had pretty good success when it comes to collecting visual novels. And this may be in part because there's just so many different visual novels on the system. So in particular, I've had a lot of success with otome novels, such as Norn 9 here, Seven's Scarlet, Psychedelica of the Black Butterfly, Psychedelica of the Ashen Hawk, and the first Hakuyoki. So all of those were otome novels, and they've been on the lower range of the Vita games I've been able to acquire. Of those, Psychedelica of the Black Butterfly was the most expensive, I would say. There are a few other otome novels that have been going up in price recently, particularly the sequel to Hakuyoki, Edo Blossoms. So I'm keeping my eye out for that one for a reasonable price. But I would say there's just a small handful of other games that I really want to get of this particular VN genre. When it comes to the non-otome visual novels, so far I've just been able to pick up the first Steins Gate novel. I really want to get the sequel, Steins Gate Zero, at some point. That one has become a bit harder to find. I've noticed a lot of the sequels have been a bit more expensive than a lot of the first games. I'll share my spreadsheet of the other visual novels I really want to get at some point, with the Zero Escape series being, I would say, my high priority out of the lot. But one of the nice things about visual novels on the Vita is that a lot of them are still getting ported over to the Switch. So we saw that with the Danganronpa series and some of the other otome games like Color X Malice. For me personally, I like playing visual novels on the Vita system. Particularly, I would say the Slim model. It's just so light and just really easy to tap on the screen when you start reading a lot of text. And in general, I just find visual novels a bit more easy to go through on the Vita system compared to my Switch Lite. So that's why moving forward, I'm going to try to collect as many visual novels as I can for this system before resorting to getting some of the Switch ports. So that's it for the VN side of my collection. When it comes to JRPGs, most of, especially the Vita exclusive JRPGs, are really expensive. So I've been trying to pace myself and sort of just limit myself to buying one a month. So I'll share the ones I've been able to get so far. The first one being Persona 4 Golden, Lost Dimension, Miramasa Rebirth, and then my most recent pickup has been Tales of Hearts R. That I was able to pick up secondhand for a pretty good price. Most of these have all ranged in different prices. The cheapest was actually Persona 4 Golden that I got for, I would say, $58, including free shipping. So that's a lot more expensive than what these games used to go for. So you are kind of paying that JRPG tax, if you will, on the system. But as I mentioned earlier, I've been trying to just really pace myself and really just grab the titles that I really want for my collection. So I've been trying to be very selective and also conscious of the price and not trying to pay over like $70 for a lot of these games. I think out of all these, the most expensive has been Lost Dimension, which I got for I think $70 with free shipping. So yeah, it's becoming a bit expensive. And before we transition over to my spreadsheets, I do have two more Vita games that I've had for a while actually before I started to physically collect for the Vita system. And that is my Trails in the Sky Evolution Vita games. These are the special box sets that come with art books and some DVDs. And so I imported these from Japan using a proxy service, I want to say a couple years ago when I started getting into the Trails games, and I have no regrets buying these physically. I don't know if I'll ever get Switch ports of the Sky series. If we do, I'll probably buy those just to support Trails because it's become one of my favorite series of all time. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with picking these up. And there's also a third box set for Trails in the Sky, the third. That one's really expensive, and I think it's always been pretty expensive, at least when I was looking for it a few years ago. It's hard for me to justify paying over $100 for a game I'm probably not going to actually insert into my Vita physically, since it doesn't have an English language option. Alright, so this is my spreadsheet that I use to keep track of all of my physical game collections, including for the PS Vita. This is the same format that I use for my 3DS spreadsheet, as you see here. And just like with my 3DS collection update video, I will provide a link in the description of a copy of my spreadsheet template that you may use to see how I put these together, and using the check mark boxes to add up the totals. So again, this is the same format as my 3DS spreadsheet. I keep it very simple with the title, release date, edition, developer. It's really the dev or publisher. I kind of, again, I'm not very consistent with this column. And then genre and anything else I want to kind of mark down. So far I've collected 12 games total, and I guess my stretch goal right now is to get 40 physical Vita games. I'm not sure how close I'll be able to make 40. I don't have any of the super rare ones from like Limited Run or other kind of obscure games on here, like some of the really expensive Neptunia games and whatnot. So I think they're all sort of doable at this time, but say 6 months from now, some of these titles might be super expensive and jump in price. So yeah, when it comes to some of the classic Vita games that are not in the JRPG or VN genre, such as the Uncharted Golden Abyss game, Little Big Planet, and Tearaway. These just seem like staples for the Vita, and I do like collecting these platformer or action, maybe misspelling, so apologize, action adventure games. These 3 games in particular I've been seeing for around $20 to $30, so much more reasonable than a lot of the VNs and the JRPGs on this list. So I'm thinking of probably trying to pick these up sooner rather than later. So those are the 3 I sort of have my eyes on at the moment. If there are any more that you think I would really enjoy that I should also have on this list that's not super expensive, please let me know down in the comments. And just like most of my wish lists or spreadsheets, it's constantly changing with how I want to go about collecting and whatnot. There are a few games on here that I'm kind of still considering whether or not to go with a PS4 version or a Switch port version. For example, Demon Gaze has a Asian English version on the Switch at the moment. I think it's Demon Gaze Plus or something. So I have a feeling that version would probably be a little better to get than this one, but I still haven't really decided. Dungeon Travelers 2, the Royal Library, and the Monster Seal is one that's still a little bit on my maybe, because I'm still not sure how I feel about dungeon crawlers at the moment, though I think I heard Food for Dogs recommend this game, so that's why it's on here. The Code Realized games are more Otomi novels, and they actually all have Switch ports. However, as I mentioned earlier during my VN section, I do prefer playing VNs on the Vita system, so I kind of want to get this trilogy on the Vita. I've been sort of waiting for a bundle deal of all 3 games just to pop up for a cheap price, but if that doesn't happen, I might give in and just try to buy these for, I think they've been going for anywhere between $20 and $30 for each edition, or I might just end up getting the Switch games if those go down in price as well. Stranger in Sword City is another dungeon crawler which also has a Switch port. It's packaged with another game, though I heard that one isn't as good as Stranger of Sword City. The games that are in orange here are my high priority games, so Zero Time Dilemma is the 3rd Zero Escape game. That Trails in the Sky, the 3rd Evolution box set from Japan. Exist Archive, another JRPG that I'm a bit on the fence whether or not to get handheld or on the PS4. I want to get Steins Gate Zero. The Norari games has both the 1st and 2nd Zero Escape games. I've been seeing this game listed for around $70 to $75 at the lowest recently, so I don't know if I should wait for a better price or if I should probably grab these now, since I have a feeling these games will only go up in price on the Vita system. Period Cube is another Otomi game. This is the second Code Realize game. And then this is the sequel to the first Hakiyoki game. That has been hovering around $65 to $70 new that I've been seeing. So I haven't pulled the trigger on this one yet either. I'm waiting to see a similar list, a used copy for a little bit less. The Move Love games are more visual novels, but they're more of a traditional visual novel, and I've heard really great things, especially about the sequel. So I've been really eyeing these two in particular and wanting to pick them up. It's the third Code Realize game, and then Lost Child is another dungeon crawler that was published by Nisa. That looks fun. You may have noticed I didn't put Odin Sphere on here, which I would love to get for the Vita, but I haven't seen that listed below $90 for a long time. So I think I might give in and just get that on the PS4 instead of the Vita system. But I still have trouble deciding on what to do while the prices are probably gonna still keep climbing for those. So that was my short tour of my PS Vita collection spreadsheet. There are so many different PS Vita games, especially when you include Limited Run and some of the Play Asia exclusives. So I've been really just trying to prioritize what I want to pick up for the system before prices rise, and just not to be too overwhelmed by what games I should be focused on. But again, if there's some title here that's missing that you think I would really enjoy, please let me know, and I might need to amend this. If you're also collecting physical games for the Vita in 2022, let me know how it's been going for you. Have you been encountering some of the same issues as me, especially with the expensive prices for used games? And also, what are some of your favorite games on the system that you think are must own? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until my next one, bye guys.